Good afternoon, good evening. This is Tech Tuesdays. I am the Broke Genius. Sorry about pushing the time back. I was trying to get home as fast as I can. I was at work and, I just, was coming from the office. And I'm going to be talking about today IT 101. Tech Tuesdays. This is something that I'm going to be doing at least once a week, just along with the other shows. So, we got Market Mondays. This is Tech Tuesdays. Tomorrow is Wealth Wednesdays. Friday will be Finance Fridays. So, this is a weekly, you know, show that I'll be delivering. Basically, it'll be something that is informative and allow me to express how much of a Renaissance man I'm actually am, and also to give you some good content and some content that can you could take and change your life or add on to if you actually work in these particular fields that correlate with the shows that I will be presenting. So, nevertheless, let me give you a background upon myself and how it relates to this topic. Primarily, I have been working in IT for about 14 years. I started about 2007, so about 13, 14 years I've been working in IT. So, with that being said, I pretty much started basically while I was still in college. I started as basically it was a doctor's office, a small doctor's office. It was a doctor that I pretty much just work with that needed some office work part time. I didn't have any other experience. So that was my first IT job. Shoot, I don't even remember how much I got paid an hour. To be honest with you, it was just so long ago. But from that job, I pretty much sprung quite a few more jobs, and I've done just about everything other than software development. I've done networking. I've done break fix. I've done support, hands off support. I've even did like work where I was a field service engineer, where I would just basically go to people's houses. Primarily would repair their TVs. That was like my first like field service position where I work with Vizio TVs. Basically, I would swap out the boards, soundboards, video boards, and even inverters. So I did that. I started that job in like 2007, and I did like home entertainment setup as well as computer repair. I would go to people's houses and try to fix their TVs or whatever like warranty they had. If they had a warranty with a TV, I was repairing that. If they had a warrant or some type of service they bought that they was setting up an entertainment system, I did that. If they had um, a computer repair warranty, I would deal with that. So it gave me a lot of valuable experience. So I primarily you know, I primarily use that to springboard to other projects. So that was something that I did 2007 when I started working in IT. So from where we are today, Right now, I work for the food and beverage industry where I support their companies' support needs for like their desktop. It's called desktop support. Their needs as far as whatever they computer breakdown or if they just got problems with getting into their computer because they password locked out to a wide variety of things. So that's enough of myself. I will get into actually this presentation. I've actually created a few items that very informational that will tell you exactly if you don't know exactly what IT is. I'll give you a rough draft of it. Okay, so without further ado, let me get into this. All right. So, what is information technology? This is a document I got pretty much off the internet. Um, it says the most basic information technology definition is that it's the application of technology to solve business or organizational problems on a broad scale. No matter the role, a member of an IT department works with others to solve technology problems, both big and small. There are three primary pillars of responsibility for an IT department. One is IT governance. This refers to the combination of policies and processes that ensure IT systems are effectively run and in alignment with the organization's needs. So basically, this refers to all of this in a nutshell. It starts from what they mean by IT governance. I'll go in further with it. So what they mean is basically they're talking about idle. Okay, so it's IT um IL. Okay. So they're talking about this right here. Okay. So if you worked in IT management, project management, you already know what this is. Okay. So IDLE is like a foundational approach that pretty much it springboards into basically the whole spectrum of what a company needs and all of that type of stuff. So let's look at this right here. So this is idle, and basically you have this little hexagon or whatever here, and you have the main focus to the left, and then the final focus to the right. So it start with opportunity and demand. So I guess in this picture is basically the opportunity to demand is the basically you got a contract with the company. So let's say I start okay, I take my company and I get a contract with PepsiCo. So I have to run everything through PepsiCo with my IT company, and I have to lay down a foundation with the principles with idle. So from the outside here, you have basically the guiding principles, and that's what they mean by this here with IT governance. So though you have to come up with policies and processes that ensure IT systems are effectively run in alignment with the organizational needs. So basically, that is what that means. So when you first if you have a contract with a company before they even start the contract, they have to go over with the liaison for the IT liaison for the company, with the contract company, and they have to come up with some type of like playbook. That playbook, i.e., is the IT governance, what they're referring to in the article. So basically, you have to come up with different like scopes of work that you're going to be doing. And what scopes of work means is like, well, what does this contract consist of? What will we be supporting? Are we supporting the networks as well as also the software? Are we supporting uh, uh, the point from point in to which is the user's computer, all the way to the servers, which is the main the first point of entry. So that's the network's infrastructure, all the way, you know, data pushing all the way to the end user. What levels of scope are we supporting? That's what all of this will be in this the guiding principles. So what type of rules is set? What type of hours of support are we gonna basically support your company's needs? What type of dress code do my technicians have to dress with? What you know what type of money, as far as what would the contract consist of? How many years is the contract? Um, what will we do as far as our refresh cycle? So every company has a refresh cycle. So that's the amount of time that a computer is actually used by each employee, aka also known as user. So basically, like, is it a 2 year life cycle? Is it a 4 year? So it depends on the company what their refresh cycle are. So like I know in actual like trading, like a trading desk. So like I'm in the Chicagoland area, so trading is an actual big trading market to the world. So it's like you got the CME group. So downtown Chicago. So basically, um, trading. It's a lot of trading desks downtown. So um, just like they are in New York, but just it's on a smaller scale. So a lot of trading companies or brokerage companies, their refresh cycle is shorter than other companies, where trading desk might only have like a refresh cycle of 2 years, because they want the fastest computing power, the most up to date computing, so they can be able to, when their employees or traders click that button to execute a trade, it goes rapidly, quickly, with minimal hangups or problems or issues. Such as, well, another company, they might like just a standard company, like maybe let's just go back to PepsiCo. They might have a 4 year life cycle for their hardware. So it all depends, but all of this will come in that guiding principles, as far as the everything that encompasses the contract, and what the rules of everything when it relates to that. And then you have governance practices, and that is what I it's the same thing that I just talked about, as far as the legalities of the contract, and what's going to be supported and everything like that. And then finally, you have service value chain. So that is what they're talking about with that, is basically what what type of value are we going to provide for the company as far as service. So are we going to give full support, or do they have other companies that they're going to go to for support, or what type of value of service are we going to provide? That this is what they mean by that. And then at the bottom, you got practices, such as what they mean by practices is what will be the service delivery model. What will we do in the case, like, for example, if the laptop cracks, do we just basically repair the laptop, or do we just dispose of it? Do we, just write it off, or do we charge for it? Let me share my screen again. I lost connection. So let me share my screen again. So I was talking about the value system when it refers to idle. Um, it's basically, you just look at idle as the overall policies and procedures of the management structure of the corporation's business to business model, as far as them dealing with the IT support company to and with versus dealing with the company that they're going to be supporting. So a long time ago, people would basically, a lot of companies would have their own support staff. They would have in-house technicians to handle their support. So a lot of like that has phased out over the years. Now, most companies, I would say now, they deal with actually their support contracts are outsourced, meaning not so much to another country. In some cases, that is, a lot of cases, that is, but it's primarily they don't have staff that are like support staff, like like IT support staff. They actually um, have support staff outside the company through another contract company that has staffing, that works with a staffing company, stuff like that. So that is what they mean by this actual first step here as far as the three primary pillars of IT. So going into step two is basically IT operations. They say this is a catch-all category for the daily work of an IT department. So, so yeah, just checking to make sure the sound is still we still live here. So, this is a catch-all category for the daily work of an IT department. This includes providing tech support, network maintenance, security testing, and device management duties. That also is idle. That is that word. Um, Let me go back to basically let me get the definition of idle for you. So it is the information technology infrastructure library. Okay. So there's another picture of idle. I click the link, but this is basically all of what that encompasses. So you you have this right here. So that is it. So let me go back to the document. So yeah, IT operations is definitely part of idle. Okay. All of this actually is a part of idle. To sum this entire article, you can basically, to understand the top perspective of IT, you pretty much you look at idle and it'll break that down for you. Now, thirdly is and lastly is hardware infrastructure. This is the focus and area refers to all of physical components of IT infrastructure. This is the pillar of IT. It includes the setup and maintenance of equipment like routers, servers, phone systems, and individual devices and of like and laptops. So, moving along, this here, this here right here is basically this is the primary area of focus. So when I think about my 14 years of working in IT, these different departments or categories is what I um think about when I think about IT. So top to bottom, you have engineering. So engineering is a few different areas. So you actually have computer engineers, right? Make a whole bunch of money, like two, $300,000 a year, stuff like that. These are the people that actually, these are the brainiacs, the super nerds, right? That they actually know how to take certain schematics of a computer, or even a computer that's not even been invented or developed yet. It's in the R&D stages of development. A computer engineer can draft out the circuitry of what the motherboard is going to be, where the capacitors are going to be, where the CMOS battery is going to be, where the CPU, where the RAM, and all of that type of stuff. If this is above your head, I suggest you go look at a YouTube video or something about, like, you look up A plus training. So if you look at A plus training and then come back to this video, you will get like basically a very good understanding of what I'm talking about. And actually A plus is like the first step to actually just kind of getting entry level into IT. So yeah, check that out and then come back and holler at me and check out this video. So you got basically that as far as computer engineering or computer engineers. Then you also have network engineers. It's the same thing as a computer engineer, but different. So instead of a computer, look at it like, okay, for example, Cisco. Cisco actually has computer network engineers that they don't just, they're not looking at a schematic of a computer. They're looking at a schematic of an actual network box. So, for example, a router, a switch, or a wireless access point. Network engineer will be the person that actually engineers what that is, the circuitry, the board inside that particular box or device, and what it's going to look like as far as, how many ports will it hold and all of these type of things, right? So that's what that person would do as far as engineering is concerned. And then you have software engineers, which is kind of confusing to a lot of people, because software encompass, I'll go to that as far as, well, we'll get to that. We're not there yet. So we got some time because we still got networking. So a software engineer actually will basically come up with the starting point, just like the actual, like, say you got an idea for some software or application, right? So what a software engineer does is they break down they use they use pseudo code. They come up with, actually they write down everything, as far as what the program will consist of, as far as the first version of that software, the wireframing of the software, as far as when wireframing is basically how the software basically will be built, like how it will be circuited, how it will actually work as far as the actual roots of the software, all of that type of things, thing uh, uh concepts a software engineer will actually do. So a software engineer is someone that, before it even is developed, because that's the difference between a software engineer and a software developer. A software engineer starts the program. He creates the actual back end of the program, where, to just kind of roughly go into what's the difference between a software engineer and a developer. A software developer takes the program that's already been created, and he'll add on to it, or he will continue the development of that program. That is the difference between a software engineer and a software developer. When I went to school for computer programming, um before, I pretty much dropped out. But um and I'll talk to, like, further weeks along, I'll talk about, like, college versus not going to college, pros and cons of that. And if you watch this video, please, comment if you work in IT. I would love to have you on to talk about your experience as far as what you think about IT and the way it's going now, and other things as it encompasses that. So I love my fellow IT personnel, such as, like, Mike V from Black Brain Trust, Gabe, a lot of other people, that anybody that, if you work in IT, I mean, you speak my language, I welcome you to this platform. So um, that, I hope you understand, is the difference between a software developer and a software engineer. So um, you have networking. So I just already gave you network engineers, what a network engineer is, but also, it's kind of like verbiage too, because I've worked as a network engineer. Okay, so I'm not gonna give the company or wherever I work for, but they pretty big. Okay, um, I was not truly a network engineer. Okay, they just market the actual title as network engineer. But what I think of a network engineer is someone that actually engineers networking, such as they create an actual networking box. They work with scientists, computer scientists. You have computer scientists that will probably be considered network scientists because they actually come up with new concepts and invent new concepts. I mean, all of these things that you hear about VPN and switches, routers, all of this lexicon was invented by people. And these were created by scientists, computer scientists. You know what I'm saying? Because a long time ago, before it was called IT, it was called computer science. Even still, you go to school, you can get a degree in computer science because they do actually have computer scientists that work for companies or whatever, various different companies of some of sorts. So you actually have computer scientists. They actually break down binary code. They work with different lab equipment that is very similar to what a network or electrical engineer would work with, such as oscillators and all kind of other like super nerd type talk that is not above my head, but it's I haven't really delved that far as IT, but that's as far as what I think of as far as network engineers. But yet, you have typically what network engineers do is they manage the infrastructure of a company's network. So, for example, they would monitor any ports, any bad switches. If it was a switch that was bad, a network engineer, he has to like log into that patch and then he has to do certain procedures to find out why that port is bad and why it's not giving a IP address or giving the wrong IP address. I was actually doing that today, and I'm not even working as a network engineer in my current role that I'm working in, but they needed someone there. I had the skills. They utilized me. Um, so normally, people be like, man, dude, you getting abused, they're not supposed to do that and yada 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 yada. I mean, I look at it like this. I really don't get a lot of opportunities to work in networking, so it gives me an opportunity to learn and so on and so forth. I mean, I actually, for the role I work in now, they asked for a particular program to do some functions that basically it was kind of cool because one, it got me to show my value to the company, so I can keep the money rolling in and keep I got a house that I have to repair and stuff like that. So it keeps that going. And then it's a caveat to it is because basically the program that they needed to be created, I work with another guy from my team. He just edited what I created as far as the script, and I can basically use that same program I could use for my own purposes as far as and I ain't gonna go into too much further detail, but it's a very cool program or script that I basically was basically told as far as can you create this for us because we need this for um our contractual obligations with the company that I work for. So it literally was like, hey, I use your time on company's time or whatever to make this program that you could use yourself and what I'm saying, save yourself like 20-30 minutes actually manually doing this. So that goes with that. But um all that aside, back to this topic, you have network engineers, like I say, they manage the infrastructure, ports, switches, wireless access points. If all of this, like I say, all of this is over your head, now you basically, if this is over your head, go back. If you've already watched a plus video, now watch a network plus video, and then you'll then come back to this live, and then you'll get further. It won't be over your head. So yeah, they manage the entire company's network infrastructure. That's a network engineer. Then you have network technicians. Network technicians will actually be the one that will be below the network engineers. That the network engineer will be like, okay, he'll find out, you know what, Tom is the the network technician. We got a bad port at, such and such and such and such. Check the switch in the server room. It might be bad. Report back to me. Let me know. Use your tools like networking. If you work in networking, you need certain tools to check certain like ports and certain cables, see if it's bad. So then Tom, he'll go and check the port, and then he'll report back to the network engineer, and he'll be like, you know what, yeah, you were right. The network, the that switch, that cable is bad. So Tom, actually, as being the network technician, his job is to actually patch a new create a new cable, patch it, and actually plug it back in, test it, and everything, make sure it's working. So you got network engineering, and then being a network technician. Then all of these you have support. All, all of these from engineering all the way down to support. It kind of flows up to top to bottom. All of these tiers is a part of support as well. So you have network and support. Network and support will be the person that actually would contact the network engineer, because basically it'll go like this. The company will call and be like, you know what, our connection is down. So they'll call the help desk, and then the help desk will route the ticket to the network support, and basically the network support will be a department, and then they will just basically write up a ticket, and that ticket will be basically, well, actually the help desk will create a ticket, and then network support will actually get that ticket, and then they will correspond with their team, and then when they determine that it's something that they can't do, such as like a network support will actually try to like remotely log into a switch and everything like that using IP address, typically MAC address, something of that sort, and actually try to resolve it remotely. If he can't resolve it remotely, he's going to reach out to the network engineer. Network engineer, he's going to he's going to use his tools and try to remote in, and work with the actual whoever is supporting the server, or basically if it's like Verizon or something like that, or if it's Cisco, they'll have their own Cisco rep. So the network engineer will work with these people to see if they can actually work remotely to address the issue. If they usually can't see what's going on, and then they would dispatch a network technician to go physically on site to check that actual switch to figure out why it's down, or the router, or whatever the case may be. So you got network engineering, you got network technician, network support, and then you have other aspects of the networking as well. But that, I'll just give you the generalization. And software engineering, as far as I already went over that, basically they're the ones that, from the idea, from the little light bulb in the head, these are the people that actually create that, take that light bulb from someone that wanted to invent something, some like, okay, somebody wanted to invent um a program that will automatically call people's grandmas on Sunday. So support the software engineer would be the one that takes that little goofy idea or great idea, whatever, and actually start to make the um, first generation version of that software. So then you have software developers. So software developers, or even software coders or programmers as they used to call them, they will actually also work with the engineers to fix any bugs, any issues with coding, add on to the software and create like a version 2, version 3, 4, and so on. So that's what a software developer does. And then you have a software tester. A software tester, his job is basically to find problems in the code. And then once he finds problems in the code, he might be also he might have to actually fix the code, or he just reports it and he reports it back to the software developer, the software development team. And then you also you have a few different software. I'll go into like software types of software coding, software coding, or whatever. All right. This is cool right here. So let's open this up. All right, yep. This will work. So the most popular is Java. I already know that. Java, if you learn Java, pretty much JavaScript runs on a lot of different things, from cell phone to programs on a server, laptop, desktop, Java, Java, Java. Then you have C, um, and that C sharp, and C plus, and then you have Python, PHP, HTML5, Ruby, JavaScript, and basically, like, I could tell you the ones that I just mentioned, those will net you that 100 plus thousand dollar job to start, 60, 70, 80 thousand dollars. Programmers are very rare. It's very difficult to learn. It's you have to actually stick with it, and it's very, very intense because the level of patience you need to have is just tremendous. But yeah, that's another part of IT. Like, one thing about IT, you have to have a certain level of patience. Like, you damn near have to have the patience of Job to work in IT, because uh you might work on a project that takes weeks, months, years. You might have a problem that takes 2 or 3 days to resolve it. It takes a certain level of for stick withedness to deal with certain problems. And then it takes quite a while to actually fix certain issues. You might have a problem with a camera that may take you 3 hours, a webcam that went out that make you take you 2 or 3 hours, to deal with, just a simple webcam. So it just takes a lot of patience. That's a lot of times people don't have that patience, and they just, they want to do other things. But you have that's what different software programmings or software development models you can go with. Then from software development and testing and engineering, you have software support. So software support would be basically anywhere from non-programmers, where you don't even have to have any programming skills. Basically, someone contacts you from the help desk, and you basically determine which developer should deal with it, or if it's something that you can resolve, because you have different levels. You got software support where basically you do have to have some layer of programming skills or they'll train you. And you have to be able to like determine what you could do as far as fixing the issue or dealing with the issue. I mean, actually, I work in software support. I'm part of that because you know, most of the problems is like Outlook. A person can't get the Outlook working, or they need to install software. That is software support, you know. So um, that is like the lowest probably common denominator in that particular group as far as software support. But software support also is like what I was dispatched to do, to create some type of program script to run some type of particular procedure that if you did manually, it'll take you 15 minutes to do to even set up, or actually take you longer than that. It'll take you probably like an hour to do. Whereas the script, it does it really quickly. Like it takes the time. It takes probably 15 times. It's 15 times faster if a human did it manually. So that I can, because of my programming skills. I do know how to do certain things. I'm just not. I'm not a fledged program developer, but I'm working on it. I'm one day. But then you have hardware support. If I was to get on a time traveling machine, go back 14 years, I would not have just started at hardware like I did. I started the hardest part. I mean, well, not even the hardest part. I started where I thought that I needed to start. I was like, I really started IT because I used to build desktops. Now I have a computer company that I build custom desktops. I have my own product line, bigcatcomputers.com. So basically, I started custom building desktops. So I would have a problem or whatever even before I start custom building. I would take my computer to a computer shop to get fixed. So after a while, I just got, tired of spending money, and I, got smarter about trying to fix my issues, because every time I got a problem, I'd have to run to a computer shop and get my, computer fixed. It was a Korean shop in the Chicago area to run my computer there, charge me like through the roof a price to fix my computer. So eventually it became a situation where when I started building computers, that was when I literally it was like A plus 101. And that's literally what you have to do in A plus class. The final project is you have to take a computer either apart and put it back together and it has to work, or you have to fix a broken computer and get it working. So in essence, that's what I did without actually taking an A plus class. But I actually eventually did take an A plus class. But by the time I took the A plus class, I actually could teach the A plus class better than the professor that was teaching it. So yeah, hardware is basically the nuts, and it's the mechanic, right? It's the mechanic, that a computer mechanic basically. So they're the least paid out of all of IT. I mean, even including sales. Hardware, you need hardware technicians. You need them. And you really, you gotta have them, but they're the least paid. They're like mechanics. In case you didn't know, mechanics, they are the least paid out of all of the things that they know how to do. So a mechanic actually knows plumbing, he knows HVAC, he knows welding, he knows how to he's pretty much an engineer as well. Shoot, he knows how to actually um deal with a lot of different things, but out of all of those different jobs, because those are different jobs, he's the least paid out of all of that. That is what hardware support or hardware engineer or whatever, whatever you want to call it. Hardware is basically, I'll just tell you, it's called, the IT term for is break fix. So your computer is actually broke, you call IT, you call IT, something they're gonna send PC technician. That's what it was called, right? So I started off as a PC technician, and it's the least paid job, man. But here's the thing, though, to not totally throw it down the drain, it allowed me to actually get out of working in warehouses and working security and doing jobs where I wasn't paid that much. I was paid a lot. Nah, eh, I was paid a little bit more, slightly, well, not slightly, somewhat more than I did working in, like, working in warehouses and stuff, doing like menial tasks, labor oriented jobs, right? It paid me a little bit more starting out, like about 15. When I started, it was like $12 an hour I was making 2007. I know I can remember that. And then I, got up to 15. And when I got up to 15, man, I thought I was like 20, my late 20s, man, no kids, nothing. I thought I was doing it, man. I thought I was on top of the world, man. And it's just what I mean is that when I was saying that people have a lot of people have this like construed interpretation of how many jobs are available or that you can actually easily get that pay $100,000. There is not, and it wasn't then. I was luckily, I was trying to. It took me a few years before I could even get a job to make $50,000, right? I mean, and it was like for a short time. So it was like, I mean, $100,000 job, like I applied for them, but there's so few far in between that it's just ridiculous. So to make money, and I'm gonna also point something out as well to help you out for you fledgling IT people that are in school and stuff like that. I'm gonna throw you a knuckleball, okay? So you also have a part of IT that people don't really talk about too much, and it's fairly easy. And this, my friend, is what you get typically for working in project management. And I mean, I gotta go here basically. Project I've worked with a lot of project managers, and these are the people that had me realize, damn, I wish I did not even start off as a hardware like PC technician. I could have just started off in project management and call it a day, because basically that actually these are the people that actually work with this right here. They work with all of this. They work with the companies. So when a company gets a contract, these guys here, these are the ones that come in and they basically run the project. They start it, they get it off the ground. So they take basically all of the networking software that needs to be supported, everything that needs to be supported. Project managers come in and make sure they get the company off the ground and up and running with the new IT company. or the company that's coming aboard. The project managers are the ones that is involved with that. Okay, so this is like you just have to get you have to get, it's called a PMP certification. Okay, so you get that PMP, and then you pretty much you can get hit the ground running being a project manager. And they deal with all of this, all of these focuses here. Okay, and yeah, don't, if you want to, you can't go wrong, because if you do start at break fix, if you start at break fix, right? um Start at fix like I did, what you will have is the complete, damn near, like, because the hardware is the endpoint. Okay, so when the user gets his laptop, desktop, monitor, peripherals, printer, all of that, you actually know how to support it, you actually know how to fix it. So for example, like, you got network guys, you got software guys, even, and definitely, like I said, project management guys that don't even support. Yeah, because you could actually get a job entry level straight out of you getting your A+ certification. You can actually basically um work in support. So you got guys that don't even know how to fix a computer, they don't even know how to install a hard drive, they don't even know how to install memory on a laptop or desktop. So it's like, basically, if you know how to do that, you got like a toolkit. Like, you look at I look at IT as like martial arts. So if you know hardware, you know the basic and fundamentals of, like, the actual hardware infrastructure, laptops, desktops, the monitors, peripherals, networking equipment, even everything encompasses CPUs, what's inside the computer, all of that, RAM, all of that, you get that. But if I had to go over, into a time machine, or if I had to do it all over again, I would go this route with the project management. That's what I would do, you know. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to basically, educate you, to have you do stuff that I didn't do, and you do it well, and you hit the ground running. So moving along, you have support, and support, you don't even need an A+ for support. I just put that in there. But basically, support is basically you support all of these different focuses. So networking, software, hardware. Support is the person that actually, you have hands off support and hands on support. So hands off support would be basically everything that encompasses just what you can do to get the computer repaired without actually doing any repairs. You do. And if the laptop or desktop needs repairs, you work with another company, usually the manufacturer of the company, to get those repairs done. I actually make more money being hands off than actually being hands on. Hint hint, wink wink. So it's like, basically, you have that, and then you also have support, where basically you have remote support as well. Like, you ain't even touching the computer, you somewhere, like, during this pandemic, I actually had to do a lot of remote work, because it wasn't no touching hand, nothing. It was, everything was online. I was literally in my room, logging into people's computer and helping them resolve their issues, or talking to them through the phone to walk them through how to fix their own computer, remotely. So yeah, that is support. It's very entry level. A lot of times I've worked for companies where they ain't even require experience. they just needed bodies. They needed somebody to take over to just add on because it was like a new contract and they was laying off the regular workers or whatever. They took over a contract. They just needed some people, man. They needed heads in on the contract, because the requirement was they had to have so many people. They really weren't concerned about you having that much experience. So another part is sales, and this is pretty cool. This is even like it's a lot of variables to like IT sales or computer sales. Let's just put IT sales, right? I do a lot of well, I used to do. I don't do that much now, but I used to do a lot of work like support where I go to people's houses and stuff like that. And I met a guy, I never forget. I met a guy lived northern Illinois, part of Chicago, right? The Chicagoland area. And this guy, he worked for IBM. And man, this dude was balling out of control, man. He had a nice little sub. He lived in like a nice little subdivision, deep basement, like big old house. I mean, his children didn't have to want for nothing. In his basement, he had a network server that basically he had like about I want to say about 1,000 terabytes of hard drives space to, and he had all of the movies that he ever liked on them hard drives. He had his own like library of movie collection in his on his server that ran throughout the whole house. So I was there because he was trying to attach a new it would be called like a NAS. So it was a network attached storage device. So basically, he needed someone to hook it up or get it programmed and up and running. So anyway, this guy basement man, he had a big old fridge with beers and wine and champagne, pops and everything in it. I mean, finished. I mean, had like a very like luxurious house. Well, anyway, he worked for IBM and he basically was a sales consultant. So his job consisted of getting contracts for IBM. So he would fly to different locations and work with different companies, primarily medium sized to large corporations, to basically get new business for IBM. The guy made well over six figures. He was like making like two, $300,000 a year just being a salesman. Okay. So his job was basically to get a company to get a new contract with IBM to buy some servers or buy some computers or workstations or buy anything that IBM sells, which they just sell all kind of stuff from servers to I mean support. They IBM is one of the pioneers of like IT. Like I mean, they've been around for like 60, 70 years. I mean, IBM is crazy. So this guy, man, he made more than pretty much most of these people, other than the engineers, make as far as sales, and that's what you can actually make because commit sales. I'm gonna tell you something. As far as me being an entrepreneur, sales is one of the best and quickest ways that you can make money for yourself because if you know how to sell, you basically you don't need to ever have to worry about nothing because you can always make some money because like for example, for my business, I need a salesman. I could always utilize a salesman because salesmen work off commission. A lot of times they work off commission, but sometimes they even have a base salary plus commission. So they primarily work off of the commission though. And it's like, if you got a good salesman, or a team of salesmen, um, basically they are the, like, basically, foundation of the company. I mean, sales equal money, which equal profits, and so on and so forth. I mean, if you can get a sales job and actually do well and learn how to sell, I mean, you can make the profits. Your income is based off of what you produce, or how many sales you have. So you can make more than, on average, what most people make just off of what you sell. I gotta mention the guy in Atlanta with the glasses and the suits and the candles again, because that's what this brother did. He worked in sales. He's still selling. He's selling y'all. The, he got the whole goddamn country trying to motherfucking be high value men, and women trying to, giving women headaches trying to figure out how they can get one. So I mean, yeah, sales. Shout out. I mean, all man. Hey, sales, man. I started. I had a computer shop, man, in a dangerous part of Chicago on the South Side, and you know, basically, I'm gonna tell you how bad it was. Okay, how how dangerous this neighborhood was. This damn neighborhood. Okay, my store, my computer store was down the street to my computer shop was down the street to where Larry Hoover, one of the most infinite gangsters in Chicago, his woman or wife or whatever, girlfriend, lived down the street from where my computer shop was. Okay, so it's like, I mean, it was murders going on left and right, people robbing. Um, right across the street from me, somebody came in a cleaners, where Koreans had a cleaners with a sawed-off shotgun, trying to rob the cleaners. Man, they was shooting the people that had them corner stores, the Arabians that had the corner store. Cause yeah, like y'all, people say Arabs. They ain't Arabs. They Arabians. I mean, I ain't, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I have an Arabian name, right? So I mean, it'll be dumb as hell for me to say Arabs. But yeah, I mean Arabians. But yeah, man, they shot a dude in the growing area, man. He had to close his shop up. I mean, it's rough, okay? 79th Street, okay? Just put in Chicago 79th Street in the news, and then uh uh see what comes up, right? I mean, all this, just a sidebar. If they talk about a National Guard and all that, well, this is where the encampment of the National Guard would have to be. That's how bad this, particular street is. Okay. But anyway, I had a computer shop that I didn't start off that way. I started off in my grandmother's basement, like shout out to Common Sense, shout out to Common. You know what I'm saying? I started literally in the basement. Then I worked my way up to the flea market, and basically, man, I used to go door to door, knocking on people's houses, man, and that was how I found my second customer. My first customer was through a referral, but then I used to, go door to door, knock on people's doors, to get service. I leave my business card, whatever. Then I moved to the flea market, and then that's when, I got a whole bunch of customers and whatnot, man. It was, I got a whole I took off from there, and then I wasn't necessarily, I would say I wasn't successful um in the flea market like I wanted to be, but I still just basically went and just started my own, had my own computer shop. So by the time I got to, work in a computer shop, I mean, I was supplying all the cats that worked at the flea market that sold computers. I mean, I was like the kingpin. but but anyway, man, yeah, sales is definitely important to anything, and to IT it is it's very beneficial. I mean, it just depends. Like if you got a commission, is whatever rate your commission is. If you get like 5% commission, and you sign a company up for a support a consultant contract, or contract basically for, let's say, $100 million. you know, you do the math from that. I mean, basically, that's $5 million, man, that you would get. I don't really know how much IT sales, what commission rate they start off. I've never worked in IT sales other than my own personal business. But anywho, it's I done talked enough. I know y'all, you know, y'all gonna probably watch this on the playback or whatever, and check this out. You know what I'm saying? It's y'all, it's probably still growing on y'all. Y'all trying to figure out what the hell he doing now. But yeah, I mean, this is Tech Tuesdays. This is IT 101. This is gonna be every Tuesdays. Pretty much, yeah, like I said before, if you work in IT, please comment, leave your email address, man, so I can set up something, if you can, so you could maybe come hop on and talk about your experience after I give my presentation or whatever. And we could set that up. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely appreciative to anybody that works in IT. And just in case you didn't know, it's not that many black people in IT. And a black woman in IT is like a unicorn. I mean, it's like a new walk. So it's not that many black guys in IT. I mean, it's a rare thing. So yeah, I definitely appreciate any input.